Well, the news has been making the rounds. It's got a lot of people concerned when they saw the NCDC's public health alert issuing a nationwide warning on cholera, yellow fever, dengue fever, and the rest. We have joining us on the program, as you can see, the NCDC Director General, Dr. Jide Idris, is live with us from our Abuja studio. Good morning, Dr. Idris. Welcome to the program.
Good morning to you, and nice being here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, it's great to see you, and sometimes when we see you as well, there's always concern, but hopefully this is to ensure that we don't have a bigger challenge on our hands. But I want you to speak to us, because looking through the nationwide alert that was released on July the 16th, where you gave warnings about cholera, as of the epidemiological week of June the 23rd to 29th, 34 states reported cases, Zamfara accounting for 32%. Other states with high cases include Bayelsa, Adamawa, Delta, Lagos, and Rivers. So what kind of situation do we have on our hands, Dr. Idris?
Well, let's be frank, we're detecting this disease much earlier, which is a good sign. Now, because of that alert by NIMET about flash floods and flooding in some states, and that was the reason why we needed to let people know that with flooding and all, there are health risks, especially those of them that are caused by flooding or water. That's waterborne diseases. And the most serious one is cholera. And that's why we felt it necessary. We have cholera throughout the year, but around the rainy season, the incident goes up. We see more cases. And that's why it's always good for people to be on the alert. And I need to let them have the reason why we have that high increase. When you have floods or flash floods, this running water moves the gate with all sorts of chemicals, waste, animal waste, diseases that are swept into water tables, drinking water. And this is how this occur. Cholera is a major one. But during rainy seasons too, especially in some parts of the country, we have high incidences of malaria, dengue fever, and yellow fever, because this is carried by mosquitoes, specific mosquitoes. And you see these mosquitoes breathing in stagnant water between receptacles, tires, potholes, all over the place. And that's when you have these water bodies, they give rise to breeding sites for mosquitoes. Sorry, I can't see the screen. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, loud and clear, Dr. Idris. Please go ahead.
Yeah, every breeding sites for mosquitoes, and the more water you have, the more mosquitoes breed. Unfortunately, the two types of mosquitoes we have, slightly different from those ones that are carried by, that cause malaria. That's what Aedes aegypti. They're responsible for yellow fever and dengue fever. And yellow fever and dengue fever, they also fall into the class of what we call viral hemorrhagic fevers, simple as Ebola and those things. And that's what the key. A case of yellow fever is an outbreak. Just a case of dengue fever too is an outbreak. That's why, again, we needed to alert people. So in these matters, for cholera, the basic thing is drinking water, basic personal hygiene, environmental hygiene, stop open defecation, drain your environment. And for yellow fever, for malaria, the easiest way is to reduce breeding size of mosquitoes. If you reduce breeding size, you reduce the number of mosquitoes, and of course, the number of bites. And to prevent bites again now, I expect people to wear long sleeve clothing, sleep under mosquito nets, that's insecticide-treated nets, and try to drain all these funny water puddles, containers near at the back of your houses. They're very easy. And yellow fever, again, the easiest way to deal with this is yellow fever vaccine. And that's why yellow fever vaccine gives you long life immunity. And that's why we encourage people now to check their vaccination status, especially children and adults, to get these vaccines. Dengue fever, there is the vaccine for dengue fever, but we don't have that in this part of the world right now. But again, it's the same preventive measures that we use for mosquitoes, use for malaria, use for yellow fever, you need to do that for that. For cholera, you know, cholera is a matter of access to water, it's a matter of personal hygiene, environmental hygiene. And for governments, it's also related to physical planning. You don't allow water, drain your water, let your drainage system be perfect. You should not allow them to be blocked. So there are many things. Everybody has a role to play. The people themselves have a role to play. Governments has a role to play. A lot of these cases are found in the states, and that's why we are meeting with all the states. We're working with our partners and funders to help with this. I had a meeting with the commissioners of health a few days ago in Lagos, and this is where we address these issues. But one thing is important is that if people do not report cases, it is more dangerous for us as a people. The more cases we report, the more attention and address we take to this. We send people out. Take, for instance, what happened with dengue fever. Apparently, cases, but they were not diagnosed as dengue, they were diagnosed as malaria or fever. Unfortunately, to malaria, dengue fever, yellow fever, they present similarly. And that's why, again, do not self-medicate. Try and visit healthcare facilities where this diagnosis can be made. Unfortunately, again, we need to address our colleagues in the tertiary institutions where they have the facility to make this diagnosis. Once they make diagnosis like this or they detect again, they need to report through the state ministries of health, then to NCDC. There we can mount appropriate response. Unfortunately for dengue fever, some of these were going on 2-3 weeks before we were alerted. People were just having fever, etc., until we move people in without the diagnosed dengue. So that's the essence of this alert. Let people know what kind of risk we're facing. We need to let them know what to do. And more importantly, again, report any case like so that we can mount appropriate response early enough to reduce the number of deaths.
Well, we can't talk enough about, this need for sensitization. And thank you indeed for that summary of the awareness of how individuals should respond to it nationwide. But before this alert on cholera, dengue fever, and the other one, the third one, there was a multi-hazard response to the cholera outbreak, which, of course, has been classified as a preventable disease. But Nigeria has been recording cases, according to the WHO, which is more than 1,500 as at, I believe, June 2025. Is this acceptable, considering the national response approach to combating cholera, regardless of the climatic conditions that predispose the spread of the infections? Shouldn't the NCDC, in partnership with the states, have reined in on the spread so far?
Yes, you are quite correct, and that's what we do at NCDC. We look at the climate risks, incidences throughout the year. And before we expect this to start, we start the preparation and alerting the states. You see, the problem is that a lot of this happens in the states. The states themselves need to get prepared for things like this. And this is where we have a bit of challenge. And that's why, again, that before this rain started, we actually prepared materials to send to the states, especially those states that are vulnerable to floods, just for them to be prepared, whatever they will need in terms of to combat cholera, to treat cholera. And that's why the states is to actually now gear up again. Now, NCDs cannot be everywhere for obvious reasons. The states should have their own responsibilities. And that's why in the coming year, the emphasis now is on building states' emergency preparedness and response capabilities. And that's why, again, this engagement is very key. We're working with the states now to develop those capacities. A lot of states are responding. They're taking up a challenge. If we recollect again, for the dengue thing, the Commissioner for Health himself came out again and declared an emergency decision. Unfortunately, it came a bit late. So we will continue to do what we need to do to sensitize the states. That's that the preparedness, they need to know when to start. That's why we have that climatic, what do you call a calendar, natural calendar again. So before this, we expect the next round of cases. They need to start preparing. And that preparation requires so many things. building infrastructure, training people, stockpiling commodities that require, build diagnostic capabilities. These are things, again, that are continuous. A lot of states are building up these facilities again now. They're responding. Other states, again, we are working hand with it. It requires training. It requires funding. It requires a lot of human resources. So I'm not going to talk about challenges. It's that we'll continue to do our best to avoid all this, to reduce the incidence of this. But more importantly for cholera, if you have it, but if your drainage system is not good, if your water system is not good, if your sanitary facilities are not good, there's very little you can do, and that's why you need to change behavior. So the people themselves need to be aware. So public awareness is key. You do at the national level, but I think each state, again, is supposed to carry on this in their state. They need to domesticate this program, domesticate these awareness campaigns in their various states. Each state has its own different cultural practice, traditional practice. They have this. So we're working hand in hand with them. We send the state rapid response to these states, especially those of them we feel are most vulnerable, to assist them.
All right.
We'll continue to do our best as things go along.
Well, Dr. Idris, maybe to push this further home so people understand how important this is, which is why we're spotlighting it. I do hope you can hear me, Dr. Idris.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I can hear you now.
Oh, great. Just to push this home, Dr. Idris, I'd like you to put a figure to the death toll recorded so far, at least on the dashboard that you have, based on the last period you monitored. What has been the death toll, either for yellow fever, cholera, dengue, and the rest? What has been the death toll? And on the flip side, if you can speak to it, how well is the malaria vaccination going in Nigeria?
Well, for yellow fever, luckily we only have one death is a huge one, but only one now for yellow fever. And all the states are taking necessary precautions. Dengue fever is mostly in Edo State. We are trying to correlate the number of deaths now because they reported very, very late. So I know that from the figures I have, there's about 11 or 13. But we're trying to cross-check that. That cross-check makes that NCDC officials go to the states now, look at their data, go to the local government to confirm and corroborate the figures they have. Malaria vaccines, I know it's being handled by the Malaria Control Agency. I think it's still in the, how do I call it? It's not nationwide right now, because I'm not too sure we have enough, but again, it's a slow thing. And so I can't give you full details on that because I don't deal with malaria issue, but I know that the vaccines are here and they're implementing them so slowly. They need to try them.
Dr. Jide Idris, we have to thank you so much for your time. This is a very important conversation, so we are spotlighting it, but we'll definitely be keeping tracks with you and other agencies supporting this. We've been speaking with the Director General of the National Center for Disease Control, Dr. Jide Idris. Thank you and wish you the very best, sir.
Thank you for inviting me. My pleasure.
So there you have it. Let's all stay on guard, stay alert. Our health is very important, particularly at this time when we have flooding across the country. We'll take a moment now. When we return, we'll talk about politics. Mr. Peter Obi, the warning that came from Edo State, the police ban in Kaduna. What exactly is going on? Well, the Edo State government is joining us to clarify these issues, and we have representation from the Obedient Movement. Stay with us.